Oh, hey, look, I've actually made it on the internet now. Jeez, that was frustrating. So, for everybody who's hung out, and of course I left my audio on. Okay, so, computer problems. I apologize. I am, 40 minutes? Yeah, 43 minutes late. So, I apologize to everybody. Tried to get out. I had everything ready to go like a half hour before the stream was supposed to start. And then Windows decided to do an update and totally jack with everything that I was working on. So, everything's going to be sort of piecemeal as things go by here. So if I know Yosh, you're out there, if anybody else is out, go ahead and join in the chat. You can. And we'll get into it a little bit. Now, I've decided to make some changes for tonight's show. I wanted to cover a couple things. Billy Mitchell getting basically kicked out of Twin Galaxies and the whole scoring controversy stuff. I wanted to get into that. I wanted to talk about SNK releasing a compilation game set for the Switch, and I also have an idea of what the next mini console from Nintendo is going to be. But when I was going through, and then of course I was going to cover the Channel Awesome stuff. Well, when I was going through the Channel Awesome stuff, our response stuff, found a couple of things out that are pretty gnarly bombshells. Well, I think with the way that the Channel Awesome things have been going, this will probably be mostly concentrating on that. I'm going to just check on something here. I know it's very unprofessional. This is how you do a podcast, guys. Anyway. Tonight I'm drinking some Texas honey cider. It's actually really good. And so sit back, relax, grab a drink, grab a vape. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk. And we're going to be getting into... You know what? Let me test something out here in the chat. Let's put it there. Yay! The chat is working. Happy day. So I'm not sure if you guys can see anything. I'm just checking up on a couple of other things here. Okay, so it looks like the stream's actually holding up. Yeah, you can see me? Good. Can you hear me okay? Because it was the audio that was the problem at first. So I'll talk about it really quickly because I know nobody really wants to hear like what problems I had. But anyway, Windows was doing an update which was screwing with my processor, which I'm not using a very powerful computer. I mean, it's okay, but if anything else is running in the background other than the necessity programs that I'm doing to run this, then it just craps out everything else. So that's kind of what happened. So Windows decided to do an update and my audio went to crap. And then I thought it was OBS, so I went into the OBS settings, adjusted some OBS settings, and it took everything that I had from 16:9 aspect ratio and put it into a 4:3 aspect ratio. So everything was like scrunched in. But finally, I've got this up, so hopefully this won't be an issue. And I also made some other settings, so hopefully I won't have a lot of drops. And I don't see any drop frame rates, so that's good. I don't need a necessarily high frame rate, so I dropped everything down to a 24 frames per second, since I'm not going through and doing video game footage or anything like that. So hopefully that'll clear everything up and make everything run a little bit better. Okay. So, like I was saying, I was going to talk about a lot of other stuff, and I might do maybe like a midday podcast tomorrow talking about the things that I want to talk about. So I really want to cover what's going on with Billy Mitchell and Twin Galaxies. I really want to talk about, well, the SNK thing with the Switch be an interesting topic, and I do want to share what I think the next Nintendo mini console is going to be, but I just think with tonight's stuff and with sort of everything that's going on, that mostly we're going to be talking about the Channel Awesome stuff. So, let's see. This was April 11th. So we're looking at, well, technically 3 days ago, but yeah, it was about 2 days ago that Channel Awesome finally dropped this, which is their response to the not so awesome Google Docs that was released on the 2nd. And you're gonna have to bear with me. I'm gonna be drinking tonight. And so anyway, they dropped this, and they don't go over everything, but they go over some pretty heavy points here, and we're gonna go through each one of them. Now, the reason why this is going to end up taking most of this show is because there's some pretty, this first topic that they're going to cover is pretty heavy and pretty shocking for a lot of people. And I know there's been videos starting to pop up on YouTube about it, but we'll just kind of get into it. So this first topic, and I love how they do the accusation and facts. So you get the accusation in bold lettering and then fact underneath it. So the accusation: Jane Doe accuses us of knowing about a sexual deviant for over a year. Fact: the screenshot below clearly demonstrates the time elapsed from being made aware of the individual in question, name redacted for legal reasons, and the time that the content partner was released from Channel Awesome. 3 weeks, not over a year. During the 3-week period, we consulted a lawyer and waited to see if anyone would come directly to us, as our only knowledge of this was secondhand. It's obvious that it's obvious that the person who came forward with this is in the Not So Awesome document wants their name protected, so we will continue to do so. Okay. So I'll see if I can pull that up. Now, this is the chat record. And they have blurred out names. So I'm not sure if you guys can see it very well. But the name of the producer who they're talking about has been blurred out. Or at least they've tried to match the color. And the thing is, you don't have to be super smart to figure out that all you have to do is find the dates. And this, so there's a couple things here. So one, they didn't cover the dates. So all you have to do is go back and figure out who left Channel Awesome at this time to figure out who the producer was. Two, this really doesn't cover anything about them knowing about it. This is just the conversation that they had about what to do about the person. And I'm going to see if I can pull it up here in my favorites. So we're going to go back to the accusation of what this was. We're still building up here. Oh, crap. Okay, anyway, what the accusation was, I've read it, but I can just sort of sum it up for you, was that one of the producers there at Channel Awesome had been grooming this girl for sex, essentially. So if you're not familiar with grooming or you don't know what it is, it's essentially when usually an adult will earn the trust of a child or the adults around the child to eventually get them to, be pedophiles. The adult to be a pedophile with a kid. I'm sort of dancing around it. I'm not doing a very good job. It's basically when an adult treats a child very well and gets them to trust them and do sexual things with them later on. That's essentially what what grooming is. Now, the person who made the grooming made the grooming accusation. She was 18 at the time, so there is a little bit of they're 18, but I think in the document she said that she had the mind of a 16-year-old. In legal terms, that wasn't illegal. But that was what was brought up apparently to Channel Awesome. Now, if you match the dates with who the producer was, who the content creator was, this essentially points to JewWario. Now, for me, this isn't so bad, but what has come up while all of this was going on is that there was another anonymous account who claimed that he raped her. And that's where things get pretty heavy. And I've been trying to figure out how to really talk about this, because I think myself, with a lot of other people, really enjoyed Justin's content, and I've never heard a bad word from anybody about the guy. Now, this was confirmed by Holly, who there's the anonymous. I'll see if I can find this as well. Let me see if I can find Holly's Twitter account. I had all this pulled up before, guys, so I apologize. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. It's all ready to go. Hey, there's Billy with his kid. getting into my private Twitter. Let's see if what's Holly go by. Christine, there she is. Waiting for it to load. Okay, here's what we were looking for right here. So someone asked her about this Reddit post, and she's saying, now, if you're not familiar with Holly, Holly was the HR. She worked as HR. She did a bunch of stuff for the channel. It seemed like everybody who was doing things for Channel Awesome were doing multiple jobs. She was in control of several different things. And in that chat log, you can see that she was a part of that. But she's saying that she can confirm that the woman in the chat logs, and I know her statements about the situation to be true. Please support the victims at this time. They do not. They did nothing to deserve this. Hashtag change the channel. So this is the Reddit post. This is quite long as well. That's how professional I am. I leave my timer on my watch to go off. And essentially, she says that she was raped by JewWario. And the reason why no one came forward with this is because they didn't want to have a backlash. And so what this does is put a lot of... It makes you think about sort of everything that had gone on. So with... And I know I'm not verbalizing this very well. This was something that really upset me. I think it really upset a lot of people. Okay, so someone asks, so basically she goes through that she had passed out and he sexually assaulted her. And so there's sort of the conversation line that's going on here. Sorry, just to clarify, I thought the allegations in the doc and the chat log were about grooming only. You're saying that he was actually a rapist. And this person says that's a different girl they were talking about in the Google Doc. He did that to her. That's absolutely true. I'm someone else. He sexually assaulted me while I was passed out. I woke up while it was happening. And then it just kind of devolves from there. So there's like I said, there's a lot to unpack with all of this that makes it really hard to come to grips with. One, I've already seen people that are coming to the defense of JewWario, which I completely understand why somebody would do that. I've seen other people who have claimed to be friends of his that are going like, oh, he was my friend, but now I find out that he's a monster. And then there's a lot of people who are just like, look, you need to, these were the victims, and we need to, be respectful of their wishes. And honestly, all three can be right. That's what's messed up about this. So, for me, I was a huge fan of You Can Play This. It got me into collecting Famicom games and discovering a lot of Japanese games. It was a fantastic series. And from everything that I heard, even before he had committed suicide, that he was just a fantastic person to be around. He was just amazing. And then you have these accusations against him. And the reason why I'm saying it, the way I'm stating it this way with the accusations, one, I don't want to be misconstrued with anything that I'm saying. These were accusations that were put against him. Apparently no legal steps were taken as far as I know, unless we find out more information later on, and that's a possibility. And this is going to be something that no one gets any closure on. There's never going to be a court case or any kind of final legal resolve to this. So at this point in time, all I can say is that they're accusations. But there's something that in all of this that we need to understand. Because there's a lot of people now who are just like, who want to jump on and say that he's a monster, and that's people's choice to do that. I don't defend or condone or any type of sexual assault whatsoever, but I am stating this to be clear in what's going on, that these were accusations. Yeah, Yosh makes a good point. He's not alive to defend himself, and it can be easy to jump on that. I don't disagree with that statement. The other thing that I want to say here is that, people aren't just these one-dimensional beings that you see in movies or read in books. The mustache twirling villain, or the good guy who's always wearing white. People are multifaceted. People do or can be two different things at the same time, and this could be a very big possibility. There's a lot of people that talk about how he just being around him or having a conversation with him really lifted their spirits, and they felt like they couldn't accomplish anything, and then they talked to him and they started doing something that they were passionate about. There's a lot of people with that same story from person to person, but with these accusations also can bring to light that same person could be capable of doing these completely horrible things. And so I'm one of those people that's like, I'm really not sure exactly what to think about anything, because and honestly, this is going to be something that's going to have to take time to process. Because even though I agree that he's not alive to defend himself, there's also the other side of it that that you have to think about, that there's really no reason, there's no benefit to releasing that statement. And the way that this chat log was released, and this is something that I've seen people like Mars Girl talk about, was that the reason why the people wanted to stay anonymous and they wanted the producer to be anonymous was that they didn't want a backlash. Why now after all this time? Well, here's the thing. When you look at the way that this was done, it's about time for me to open another cider here. It's a heavy drinking night, guys. Anyway, this wasn't the anonymous poster that did this. This was Channel Awesome. So that's what we have to, that's the thing that we have to take into consideration here, is that in the initial document and in the initial accusation is that he essentially groomed an 18-year-old woman. And it's not illegal. There's some ooky stuff in there, but it's not illegal. Then we have someone else who said that he raped her while she was passed out, and that's been confirmed by Holly, who was the HR person. There's and apparently the person who was raped was trying to get their information in on the doc, and they didn't get it in for some reason. It wasn't published. Yosh, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying there. Um, is there going to be a huge backlash? I don't know. What I think that we're going to find out is we're going to see a lot of videos post up about the accusations, and I think a lot of people are going to just run with the accusations. And that's where I have, like, I'm not quite sure where to go with that, because that is something that I'm trying to figure out on my own. I don't think that anybody would come out and say these things about someone, especially after they've been dead for several years. There's no benefit to it. I don't know if people are going to have a backlash. But I am starting to see people release videos about, well, he was a predator and he was a rapist. And that's, again, this is something that, for me, I've had to process. Yosh knows, because I sent him a text last night about it. It bothered me enough that I, was having a hard time sleeping and trying to process all of this. And I think that there's a lot of people who are having a hard time processing this. And if these things are true, and again, I'm trying to be careful with my wording. If these things are true, and you did enjoy his content, or you were his friend, or you did go and hang out with him at a con, or you were a producer on Channel Awesome and you did crossovers with him, or in case of Mars Girl, she made a very heartfelt, 2-hour long tribute to this guy to finish out his Famicom and Writer series. And I've got the feeling that a lot of people feel betrayed. Like I said, I'm not even sure how I feel on everything. I am seriously at a loss for words to figure out where I am on this. But the thing to remember is, it was not the Google Doc that the former producers released that had that information. It was this right here. This is what tied everybody into it. Because you can track that time and you can see who left Channel Awesome close to that time. And I'm kind of in the, like I said, I'm of two minds here. I can see both sides of things. I don't want to completely condone, or not condone, but sit there and say, yeah, these are all true. But I'm also not saying that those are false claims by any means. I'm a firm believer in, verifying information as much as you can. And from what I can see, because this was not released in a way that was just like, blah, here it is. We discovered this information because Channel Awesome decided to publish this chat log. So, besides being able to piece A and B together fairly easily, which was, they really, I don't know. if they did care about the person who was making the accusations, they would have put a little bit more forethought into that and probably not post the dates. Because you can try, people are going to do it. That's the first thing I did. I looked at the dates there, and I looked up who left Channel Awesome at that time. That's the first thing somebody's going to do. You're going to want to find out who it was. So I'm with a lot of people. I feel my heart goes out to everybody involved. It really does. His widow, his family, kind of Mars Girl in particular, because I know she worked with him a lot, and I think she feels particularly betrayed. She hasn't really. I watched her live stream that was on yesterday. She was trying to dance around a lot of stuff, and understandably so. This is not easy for a lot of people to process. Yeah, Rambo, that's the thing. Holly she did say that. I've got her tweet right here. That's the other thing, is that we're getting that's the sorry. I had to take a couple times to really like sit down by myself and sort of figure out how I was going to say things, and still didn't come out with a way to say it. It would be nice to know for sure if he had admitted to it and they made that decision, or if this was just an accusation that was up against him and they decided that it was probably the best thing for everyone if he left and Channel Awesome didn't have him around anymore. And those are two very different things. And she was a part of that chat log, but I don't know if there was a specific conversation that she was there for to find anything out. There's just so much left up in the air, and this is something that this is real life, man. Sometimes you don't get closure. Sometimes you don't get the answers, and this is going to be something that we're never going to get a definite answer for. And that means that there's going to be splits. There's going to be a lot of people who are very split on this. You're going to have some real diehard fans who are like, no, it's impossible. No, he couldn't have done it. And then you're going to have people who say, yeah, this was it. I think with at least Holly confirming that it was him that they had to kick off the site. Yeah, Rambo. It's man, it's bad for everyone. This is just bad for everyone. I never knew the dude, and his suicide hit me really hard because I've personally dealt with really crippling depression in my personal life. And I remember watching his videos and thinking, wow, I relate because I love video games, and he was into a topic that I always had wanted to get into with retro gaming and import gaming. But and then also I remember watching videos or seeing people post stuff up about what a great guy he was. And so when he committed suicide, it hit me really hard, and I'm not I'm not afraid to admit that. It took me about 2 months. Even though I never knew the dude, I never met him. I have no personal story to share about the guy. I just watched his videos, really enjoyed his content, and really loved the fact that other people loved being around him, and he was so uplifting for so many. And he's, and that video of him saying, well, you're not stupid, can bring tears to your eyes. And for me, when I'd heard what happened, first couple of days hit me really, really hard. And then I was pretty much numb throughout all of December, and then I started kind of getting back into my normal life about second week into January or something. I remember it real specifically because I was so sad that it had happened. This is one of those things that it's making another impact on me. It's hitting. Do I think that the suicide has anything to do with the situation? This is the whole thing with what's come to light with this. Because suicide out of depression and then suicide out of a way out because there may be legal ramifications are two different things. When you're dealing with suicide from depression, the best way I can say it is that your brain chemistry isn't right. And so your brain chemistry isn't right, so you have to, and it's a different thing for each person. Like no one depressed person is the same as the next depressed person. It's a very difficult thing to treat. For some people, just going to therapy helps. That was more of my thing, was going to therapy and identifying things that I needed to change in my life in order to maintain some form of normalcy. For other people, it's they do need to take medications to even themselves out. And his suicide could be from depression, and it could be, and that depression, and that's the thing, it could have been he couldn't find a way out because of the accusations, or it could have been because of depression, or it could have been depression set on because of events like these. We don't know. We're never gonna know. And it's my heart is broken for a lot of people involved. That's really the only thing I can say. Because he was, to some people, he was a great guy. And for these individuals, he wasn't. Well, Rambo, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. Um, all of this is, all you have to do is crop that out, which all you have to do is go to your snip tool in Windows and size the window to leave those dates out. It's not even a matter of learning technology. You could crop that out. Any photo program, you can crop that out. So there's reason to be mad for a couple of reasons. There's sorry guys, bear with me for a second. There's plenty of reason to be pissed off. There really is. Those dates could have been left out. That probably would have been the safer option for the anonymous posters, or poster in this case, to leave out who it was. Now, if you were a conspiracy theorist, you could possibly go, well, there you go. Rambo's got it. Take the heat off of them and put it onto him, right? Because here's a couple of things to take into consideration. When they posted their response, their official response, people completely jumped ship at this point in time. Angry Joe, a few hours after this came up, said, I'm done. I'm not on Channel Awesome anymore. We're not going to cross-post our videos there. Outside of Brad Jones, that was the last big dude that they had. Linkara had bailed out initially. So, yeah. I think this was probably more calculated to go, oh, well, we know people are smart enough to figure out the dates. Do I think they cropped in the dates? I don't think so. Because these chat logs look very similar to what Holly has. I don't think they added those dates. I've seen some of her, she started posting, because part of this is they're going to be referring back to chat logs, and she's also got chat logs, and she's posted those up on her Twitter account, and they look like they come from the same spot. So I don't think they forged those dates to put the blame or shift the blame over to JewWario. I don't think so. I think they just left them in. And I think they're smart enough to understand that them doing that would cause some people to go do a little internet sleuthing, which really it's not much. It didn't take much to go find out who they were talking about. Yeah. So basically the biggest reason why this whole thing right here is offensive is because the person who requested, yeah, Rambo, that's right. The only two people that are left are Brad Jones and Guru Larry, and I can tell you that I know for sure Guru Larry at this point in time, he is trolling. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I've seen him. He's been making jokes about it, and I don't think Brad Jones is going to leave. I think he's good buds with him. I'm going to get some water here. Because Larry actually came on one of my videos and made a statement. Basically, back when this was first starting up, he was saying that the outside of like Film Brain, none of the English or European. Well, I guess there were. I guess. Didn't Sad Panda show up on one of the anniversary specials? I can't remember. Pretty much, a lot of the English producers didn't get asked to be on to the anniversary specials. Yeah, that was the other thing, JJ, is that for me, look, I'm an old dude. I can't I can't see stuff that well. So even if I bring this up, and I've got this blown up for me pretty well, but yeah, apparently people were able to tell just from the redacted sources there that they could tell that it was Justin's name. I couldn't, but it was easy to find out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you found out. It was easy to find out. But overall, this first thing, this was actually pretty shameful. If they were ignorant of it, okay. So here's the thing: if they posted that up and they were just ignorant to it and they didn't know better or they didn't think about it, then all of the complaints that all the other producers have had against Channel Awesome proves the fact that they're incompetent. Now, if they did it on purpose, then this proves that the producers were saying that people like Mike Machad are dicks. That's what that proves. It doesn't give us any evidence of what the initial fact is. Man, you gotta love Larry's hilarious. He really is. I really think he's just in it to troll. I think he's in it to troll. I don't think he's cared about Channel Awesome, even though he's on the site, and he's been on the site for years. He's one of the longest running content creators on it. I don't think he gives a crap. I really don't. So here, the screenshot below clearly demonstrates the time lapse from being made aware of the individual in question. No, it doesn't. This is a conversation about having a discussion about getting rid of somebody. That's all that is, and it's all on the 21st. It doesn't show that they've known for a while. It doesn't have them talk about any of that. This is just a conversation throughout the day about how they're going to approach this producer. So it doesn't even prove the point that they're trying to make. Let's move on. I've spent enough time on that one, I think. Like I said, for everyone that's been involved with anything with JewWario. Yeah, clown shoes. My heart goes out to everybody. The victims, his family, anybody who was friends with him, anybody who enjoyed his content, anybody who met him. My heart goes out to everyone, because there's no way that we're going to get any kind of version of closure on this. It's just not going to happen. So we're going to move on. Accusation. Sean Faust accuses former Channel Awesome COO and founder Mike Ellis of a conversation of sexual nature that lasted over 2 hours. Yeah. This is one of those things that maybe I'm a little bit more understanding on Channel Awesome with. Mike went to him Sean went to Mike Machad about, and this is one of those things. I'm going to leave links for everybody who's watching on YouTube. I don't remember. I don't think I put them on the Twitter, or not Twitter. I'm sorry, Twitch feed, but I will. But if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're watching the replay of this on YouTube, the links for everything that I'm covering are actually in the description. Um, yeah, I think Mike Ellis called Sean Faust his sexual cupcake, and man, it was just a weird conversation. And eventually, it was the way Sean had put it was that essentially it just got to a point where, and these were, I believe, these were texts, uh, or I could be wrong. That could have been a phone conversation. That he was just pretty much talking to himself. That Sean just eventually shut up for about 2 hours, and Mike Ellis was going off about this. Now, um, oh, he's, pardon me, my GERD is kicking in. Um, this went on for 2 hours. For these 2 hours, I typed not one word to him, but he said he had this entire conversation with himself. And multiple times he tried the whole "sorry, I didn't mean to scare you off" tactic on me, as if that was going to make things better. I showed this conversation log to two people, Rolo T, and he was freaked out. And the other person he showed was Mashad. Yes, he did call him a sexual cupcake. Um, as far as I can tell, and here we'll get into this. He messaged Mashad, telling him, "Look at what this guy is doing. I'm super freaked out. Keep in mind that this was just before the anniversary brawl. Sorry, guys, I've been drinking. The only thing I heard from Mashad was, 'Damn it, I told him he couldn't be doing this. I'll take care of it.'" And from what I can tell from that, uh, Ellis never reached out to him again. Did he need to be fired because of that? I don't know. We're in a really weird thing here. The producers, the one of the big things to remember is that the content creators who are producing content that showed up on Channel Awesome were not employees of Channel Awesome. And it sounds like a clubhouse. Channel Awesome sounds like a clubhouse. Here's where the cool kids are hanging out at. You got one being weird to someone else, and they go to somebody who runs the clubhouse a little bit and says, "This dude's being weird." He goes, "Damn it, I told him to stop being weird." It's kind of what sounded like happened. So in this one, I'm gonna defend Channel Awesome in this one. I think that I don't know what the entire conversation consisted of. I guess if we had the chat log to refer to, that we could find out and figure out how bad it was. I mean, I don't know how, like, sexual cupcake is funny. And I'm not downplaying anything that Mike Ellis did. I'm really not. From everything that I've heard about him, he's pretty much a skis bag. So, but if he's like, "I want to put my ding ding in your butthole," I'd be more. It really, it's just the content's gotta, like, I'd have to see the chat logs to see how bad it was. But if it was enough to freak somebody out, then yeah. But was it enough to fire them on the spot for it? Don't know. But being as, like I said, there's so many different facets to what's going on. Maybe if Sean Faust was a hired employee, putting Holly in the safe house, yeah. Now that's messed up. That they put Holly in a safe house for a little while because they were afraid that Mike Ellis was so pissed off that he would retaliate violently. Yeah, and can any of you guys remember? Did the Holly thing happen first, or did the Sean thing happen first? Because he wasn't only jacking with Sean, he was also hitting on Holly as well. Now maybe Ellis does swing both ways. I have no idea. And you know, and he just liked the boys and the ladies, but I don't know. But she had the same complaint. Now apparently he was married at the time when he was making sexual advances towards her. Now that's a different. Here's the other thing. Sean first. Okay. This is something also to keep in mind, is that I don't believe Sean was actually an employee of Channel Awesome. He was just a content creator. Somebody in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but Holly was. And that's a completely different situation. Because now you have two people who are working under the same company. You almost have to look at the content creators as contractors at that point in time. They don't officially work for Channel Awesome. They're just associated with it as long as they're making content for or around Channel Awesome. They could bail at any time they want to. But Holly was an employee. She was HR. And Ellis was COO. So that's a completely different situation legally. I'm not saying it's right either way, but I'm saying from a legal standpoint, they would have to take action as far as Holly was concerned. But everybody done with the sexual cupcake, or do we still want to talk about sexual cupcake? I should have named my channel Sexual Cupcake. We're gonna move on. Okay, accusation. Multiple content partners state payment for their contributions to the site were not compensated. Fact. From the beginning of the site, anyone who has been added content. God, sorry guys, I'm screwing this up. So then why do they bring up Sean but not the Holly safe house part if they're supposed to be the worst ones? They're replying about. That's a good question. I don't know. Some people, I believe in Mars Girl's live stream yesterday, she basically said, if they're going to do this, why don't they reply to every single item that they had in the document? I'll be the first one to admit, man, I've read that document a couple times over. I've read the added content. If you guys don't know, Iron Liz put her account in there as well. And her, as far as I'm concerned, Iron Liz, aside from the sexual assault and grooming stuff that's in there, her account of how Channel Awesome treated her when she was on, was it To Boldly Flee? That one is the most egregious to me. From all of the ones where people are saying, where people are kind of labeling them as more of petty complaints or something like that. Hers were some of the worst, because she was out there as a guest of Linkara. And okay, so I'll kind of frame the story for you. They were filming, I believe it was To Boldly Flee. I think that's the one that they were working on. Anyway, they had done previous productions, but they only had one camera, and they had groups splitting off into two, and they didn't have two teams of people filming. So essentially, I think it was Lindsay and Ed Glazier. They had to go and talk to the walkers and basically tell them, look, you're splitting the team up into two. You're doing an A and a B story here. You guys really need to have two camera operators. And they had to be convinced of it. They had to have a closed meeting and convince them of that. So anyway, after they convinced him to do that, they end up borrowing Todd in the Shadow's camera to film I guess the B plot or whatever, or Team B, Team A, or whatever, however you want to look at it. And then they used a memory card from Obscurus Lupa. She loaned them the card to film it. And so Ed took on the responsibility. He was there to be a cloak. He ended up giving that position up to Iron Liz, and he became a camera operator for the B team or whatever. And during that time, she was helping out with the production. She wanted to get on Channel Awesome, so she was out there helping them, and she would, run and get food, deliver people from point A to point B, carry weapons. I think they were using her car, but she had made a couple of statements. One that really sticks out in my head was that she was going to go make a coffee run for everybody in the morning for one of the morning shoots. And she asked someone, and I can't remember who specifically, so I highly recommend you read the document to be sure. But whoever she was talking to, she said, well, could I get a coffee too? She had been running around working almost as a personal assistant to everybody. And she wanted to get a coffee like everybody else because they were going to cover the cost of coffee for everyone. And they basically told her, no, she's talent, or she's not the talent. She's just helping, so she doesn't get a coffee. So eventually she gets a role in the movie because Ed steps out to go be a camera operator. She takes over his role as a cloak. And there was a point in time they went to, I want to say it was like Popeye's Chicken or something like that. And she wanted to get food too, and they told her no, she wasn't part of the talent. Even though she was in the movie, they were filming her, she was a cloak, and she was doing all the running around besides everything else. So it's just dickish behavior. But if you've read the document and you haven't caught up with Iron Liz's story because they've added it to it, read her side of it. It's not very long, but I think it's probably some of the most egregious crap that anybody could be talking about in this. Anyway, sorry guys, let's move on here. Okay, so let's see. They were talking about content partners stating that their payment contributions to the site were not compensated. Fact: from the beginning of the site, anyone who has been added as a content partner was informed that ChannelAwesome.com was an aggregator for their content. At no time did Channel Awesome take a cut of their videos, as the practice is with multi-channel networks. We never wanted to be an MCN and only asked them to schedule their videos that they were already doing for Blip.tv and YouTube. We gave them access to over 30 million page views and over 1 million unique viewers a month at our height. Channel Awesome viewed the partnership as a way to help content partners grow their audience while bringing in new content and increasing the community within the site. We got more. Further benefiting content partners, Channel Awesome covered all costs associated with server, hosting, and labor costs associated with maintenance and updates. Some content partners even had their servers from their own sites paid for by Channel Awesome. None of these costs were ever passed along to our content partners. Okay, let's talk about this one because there's a lot here to talk about. Mars Girls claim they should have just had the $90,000 from Indiegogo to buy a person a damn cup of coffee. Right on, Rambo. You are absolutely right. Instead of gypping people on the worst painted sets I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so here's a couple of things that I have some questions on. Mars Girl repeatedly, and I happen to believe her on this. At first, when she joined Channel Awesome, because she was part of the Be the Nostalgia Trick contest, when they offered her position there, apparently Mike Michaud told her to hand over her video files to him. They would upload to Blip, and then they would pay her a cut of whatever video views she would get. And she said she's never been paid for that. She said Lindsay and who else? Suede also were initially doing that. Eventually, they all went to uploading to Blip on their own. But she says that Suede and Lindsay got paid for their content. She's never been reimbursed for any of the content that she had handed over to Michaud. And I don't believe that content is around anymore because they kept it all on one hard drive. Here's something that I have just personally a very, very strange question about. Channel Awesome covered all costs associated with the server, hosting, and labor costs associated with maintenance and updates. Some content partners even had their servers on their own sites paid for by Channel Awesome. If you're going to run a website, and let's be perfectly honest here, what we're looking at, this page, this is a WordPress. This is essentially a WordPress blog. It does not cost much to do one of these. I had my own website for a little while. I've actually had two websites. One where I was doing everything from scratch, and building the code and doing everything myself, and that was a bit more costly. And then I did a WordPress after I'd found out like places like Channel Awesome were essentially doing WordPress stuff and putting a template over it. And it was so much easier to maintain. Outside of the initial cost of your normal cost, which we're looking at under $100 usually, about $100. Now, apparently this template that we're looking at that they use, it costs $100. But here's some of the interesting things. There's no additional space that needs to be purchased. Everything is text. Everything is text. Even the videos that you watch on Channel Awesome, they're embeds. The website you're looking at doesn't actually contain those videos. What it has is essentially a web link to YouTube or at the time Blip. So I'm trying to figure out where these additional costs that Channel Awesome is so bravely footed, and maybe they were paying for other people's servers for their own website. I don't know why they would do that. Doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe they're just that kind. Really, outside of hosting maybe some video files for the podcasts, that's the only thing I could think of that they would actually need to have any kind of additional server space and maintenance. It's typical cost. If you're going to run a website, these are normal things that you're going to put down. So I don't know where they're coming from with that. Yeah, and with Vimeo. Yeah, Rambo. Okay, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to take a short break because I have to pee. And we'll get back to this. So if you guys don't mind sticking around, go grab a drink, grab a snack, grab a coffee, grab a vape, whatever it is you guys need to do. We're gonna come back in about 5 minutes. So and then we'll get right back into this. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Everybody able to get a drink and hit the bathroom? I saw what you guys were talking about with. Let me go back on some of that chat. Sorry, when I didn't know this, but because I put a chat up on the other screens, I didn't know it was going to clear out the others. The forums and blogs are down too. JJ, what was going on? Because I was reading about that earlier today, and what I was finding out was that it had just turned into a complete shit show. Apparently, like, so many people have bailed out on Channel Awesome that everybody was just putting out like, oh, this is just crap. Like, people were just slamming the site back and forth. So it was pretty funny. As far as the store, I don't know about the store. I remember the store being down. I remember reading about that, but I don't have any kind of, they could have just taken things down because, well, their social blade speaks for itself. Yeah, one nostalgia critic. Well, here's the thing. Even though this is their official, this is their official statement, the other thing to keep in mind is they still have some videos that they plan on releasing. Every time that Channel Awesome as a company opens its mouth, they happen to screw up. Well, there's no one to moderate. Electric Maestro, it's sorry, dude, I've been drinking a little bit. There's no one to moderate. There's no one there. And even if there was a moderator, one moderator could not handle the amount of people that were going in, and just because I had gone through some of the comments from this, and it was just people slamming Channel Awesome left and right. There's no way a single moderator could handle that amount of traffic and that amount of people just telling you how bad your company is, essentially. Okay. So we're going to move on here. Accusation. The document talks about the drop in traffic to the site. It does. For a couple of reasons. The main one being that they decided to... Now, I have my own theories as to why they did this, but when they... Was it... whatever one where they killed off the nostalgia critic. Yeah, you killed off the nostalgia critic. It was a bad move. It was a bad move all around. And anything they tried to do after that really bombed. But let's get into their fact. Fact. While we did have an initial drop to the switch to demo reel, the real hit to the site's traffic came from our growing presence on YouTube. When we relaunched the Nostalgia Critic show in January of 2013, Blip TV decided to start placing the full episodes up on the League of Super Critics channel a week after we launched it on thatguywiththeglasses.com. That really shouldn't matter. If they're launching it on That Guy with the Glasses first, that means that the traffic for the League of Super Critics is going to be down because it's really your first week. It's your first couple of days out there. So the League of Super Critics is basically getting the sloppy seconds from That Guy with the Glasses. So League of Super Critics isn't going to do well. Let's read on. As we grew on League of Super Critics, more and more reviewers decided to watch it on YouTube instead of our site. The biggest blow to site traffic came before the downfall of Blip TV. While we won't go into full details, we were forced to abandon the League of Super Critics channel and instantly start A Channel That Is Awesome in May of 2015. This is the point when traffic began to quickly drop off at our site, now channelawesome.com. One of our biggest accusers stated that they still might be on the site if views were there, as stated by Kalen below. And this gets into Mars Girl basically saying what pretty much everybody has known what was going on. And that is, I went through it as an audience member, man. I wasn't the biggest Nostalgia Critic fan. Yeah, Electric. We'll get into that in just a second. Um, when they killed off the Nostalgia Critic, and the way they killed off the Nostalgia Critic, and the way that they handled it. And I've talked about this in my comment section on a couple of videos, is that they did a hard cut to the Nostalgia Critic, to the point where people were like, did you just kill off the Nostalgia Critic? And then Doug had to go make a video saying, yeah, the Nostalgia Critic's dead, and we're going to be doing this new stuff called Demo Reel. Okay. You took the character that you built the entire site called That Guy with the Glasses, and you killed him off. You killed that character off. Which we'll admit was the biggest draw to That Guy with the Glasses. So, and I'll, it's easy to sit here and look and go, okay, well, what we have is, there are people who, if you want to say it this way or think about it this way, you could, who these other content creators who were doing videos were kind of riding off the back of the Nostalgia Critic. You could look at it that way. There were a lot of people who loved the Nostalgia Critic, especially the earlier episodes, pre-death Nostalgia Critic, and a lot of people came to watch that. And a lot of the traffic that other content creators got were, the sort of the slide off from his videos. But what I talked about in some of my comments from past videos is that, and this is what Electric is getting into here, is that from a creative standpoint, we could see why Doug would want to put away the Nostalgia Critic. I have a couple of thoughts on this. Now, at the time, we were being told that Mike Machad pretty much owns the IP for the Nostalgia Critic. They do, I don't know if it's in this, somewhere they talk about, well, what it is that they have shareholders. And Mike Machad is the primary shareholder. So, in a sense, in a way, yeah, he has the Nostalgia Critic by the nuts. And this could have been Doug's way of getting away from the Nostalgia Critic, making videos more about the way he wants to. Again, I've talked about this where you've seen other content creators. Pat the NES Punk's a great example of this, where he did the punk videos and they were goofy and they were silly, and he was, I'm not big on people acting and doing a bit along with a review. I'd rather just see a review. But I still enjoyed those for what they were. And this could have been him seeing kind of what was going to come down the pipeline a little bit, and decided to go ahead and kill off the character and bring in Demo Reel or Sibling Rivalry to kind of fill that gap. But the thing is, what someone like Pat or like James Rolfe has done is they haven't gotten rid of their characters. They just don't do them as often anymore. James goes out and he plays video games with Mike, and they do their thing, and they talk about stuff. He talks about movies, and he talks about the things that he likes to talk about. He doesn't always play the nerd character. Every once in a while, maybe once a month, or maybe every couple of months, or maybe once every 6 months, I'll see a new nerd episode, but it doesn't happen all the time. He gets to do what he wants to do now. The nerd's pretty much done. If you love the character, if you love the nerd, that's fine. You can still like the nerd, and he'll still do occasional content, but that's not what he does anymore. Same thing with Pat. He doesn't do the punk character anymore. It's him and Ian doing a podcast. And I could see where Doug would want to get away from the Nostalgia Critic and maybe get into a little bit more analysis of movies versus trying to do a character and doing a skit and doing comedy. That's the Maestro. You got another nail on the head there. As the site progressed, because it was initially Doug focused, it was Nostalgia Critic focused. They could have made the choice to start branching out a little bit and really embracing some of the other content creators. Exactly, Ajax. That's exactly it. If so, what Ajax is saying is essentially like if they had just sort of weaned off the Nostalgia Critic. Maybe instead of doing a video every week, they did a Nostalgia video every 2 weeks, and then maybe once a month, and then if they did it every once in a while, then the Nostalgia Critic would be a treat. It would be something that, you know, oh, well, we need to get some more views in during this time frame. Let's get the Nostalgia Critic out there. Or let's do a Nostalgia Critic Christmas episode. Yeah, Electric, that's the thing. Like he still does the nerd character, but it's not nearly as often as what he used to. And so that's what makes it it still makes them fun. When you watch a new AVGN episode, like, oh, this is fun. I remember really liking, you know, really watching these, and now he doesn't do them as much, but it's sort of a treat. It's fun, and I'm sure those videos still get a lot of views. And I could see where Doug was going with doing demo reel and trying to get rid of the Nostalgia Critic, but the way they handled it, all of the way that they did handle it was, you know, it could have been, there's a couple factors. It could have been too soon for a lot of people, which I think that's what it was. There was a big backlash to bring back the nerd, or I'm sorry, bring back the critic. And I think that they could have worked it a little bit differently. That is true. Yeah, I forget about the other characters. The bum. He was doing he was doing like a Pixel Palace. Was that the one where he was a bartender? But yeah, it was all very much the Doug show, and that's really what that guy with the glasses was built around. Power Fist, I have to agree with you, man. It's been several months since I've seen a Nostalgia Critic episode. And it's hard to watch. People who are big fans of it that I've seen make the argument that, you know, the reason why the earlier Nostalgia Critics were good was because the cutaways and the references were done very quickly. It was just a short little joke. Now they go back out. Video Game Confessions. Thank you, Electric. They go back and God, I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Somebody remind me what I was talking about. It's late for me, guys. Usually I'm up about 6:30 in the morning, so this is 2 a.m. for me now, so I'm usually way in bed by now. Film skits are like long speed bumps. Exactly. Thank you, Ajax. So, yeah. The skits, and some people have said that this is because Doug likes to write comedy, and he's got a very particular kind of Looney Tunes version of comedy that he does. But yeah, the full skits, they weren't doing anything for me. I haven't watched a modern episode in a while. And that's not to take away from anybody who participates in it, the actors who are in it and stuff like that. Malcolm and I can't remember her name. You know, they're fine for what they're doing, but it's just not very interesting to watch. And after a while, you get sort of the Doug Wink show, and that's kind of what the anniversary specials turned into, was the Doug Wink show. And so you just don't really want to watch that anymore. Okay, so we're going to move on. Accusation. Multiple content partners have alleged our anniversary specials were not compensated for the time worked, and crossover videos were asked to be turned over, if filmed, to Channel Awesome. Fact. When invitations for the anniversary specials were issued, we made it clear that to all content producers that their participation was on a voluntary basis. In addition, content partners were always given the option to decline our invitation with no questions asked or repercussions. We understood we were asking our content partners to give up their time, and not everybody could do that. So what they do, sorry guys, I'm reading comments while I'm doing this too, so I'm trying to keep it going. They could have Power Fist. They could have he could have thought that they wanted to see more of Doug when they want more of the Nostalgia Critic. That's very possible. And some of it could just be that Doug himself just wanted a change besides everything else. So it could have been that he wanted out of the Nostalgia Critic character. It could have been that he was tired of doing very similar shtick all the time. There's lots of possibilities as to why he wanted to leave the character. And then when they brought him back, he actually made a video where he said, I'm not just going to be doing nostalgia videos anymore. I'm going to be talking about more modern movies. And I won't be doing them as often. I think I remember him saying that. Rambo, do I think that they did the movies because they were a fear of some sort of backlash or retaliation or going down in the card? I don't think so. Here's what I think. Now, I have no proof to back this up. Here's what I think. The anniversary specials were a big, especially like the early ones, they were a big event. Like, because they would release those, I think they were releasing them like one day at a time or something like that. So you're almost guaranteed that you'd come back. Ajax, give me a second. I'm reading your comment here. Okay, Ajax, yeah, you and I are on the same page with a lot of this. Okay, so what Ajax is saying, and what I completely agree with, is that they basically said, yeah, you can go and do these, and here's the contract. Let's just do this. We're going to get into the contract. So here's the example contract that they had to sign for the 3rd-year anniversary. By signing this contract, I agree to the terms and conditions below. Channel Awesome will not be held liable for any injuries sustained during the filming of this production. Channel Awesome will also not be held responsible for any items lost, damaged, or broken. Starring in this production is voluntary. Channel Awesome producers are participating of their own volition and may opt out of participating by refusing to sign this contract or by contacting CEO Mike Machad, CCO Robert Walker, or HR Holly Brown. All participants in 3rd-year anniversary video may participate in or film crossover videos with other attending producers. Here's where the contract gets creepy, guys, or bad. Okay, while highly encouraged, this process is strictly voluntary, and failure to do so will not in any way affect Channel Awesome's view of attending producers. However, any crossover videos, shows, or vlogs filmed during the course of this event will become strictly property of Channel Awesome. Channel Awesome reserves the right to do with these videos what it sees fit. What it sees fits. That's worded badly. And to assume any monetary benefit from the publication of said video via blip or other multimedia or DVD sales. These crossover videos will be used to recoup costs of lodging, travel, logistics, and production. That's right, Power Fist. They didn't really address the you guys are crap producers and directors. Well, and in this and in their fairness, they're trying to address what they consider to be the major flaws or the major points that were made in the Google Doc that was dropped. So what producers really had a problem with, I think, was in this paragraph here. And if I saw that, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not filming a crossover. So what we have to understand is that Channel Awesome, when they were doing the anniversary movies, they were flying out the producers. They were putting up in a hotel. They were paying for some of their meals. Maybe sometimes had water for them if you told them that you had to have water for the crew. But this part right here, this is where I'd have a major problem with, and this is where someone like Iron Liz had a problem with when she had her knee bashed in by accident. Any crossover videos that you filmed on your own time, away from the production of the anniversary film. So you got to think about it this way. When you're putting a video together, what are you doing? Well, you got to film it. You got to write the script. You got to make the contact with the person that you're going to eventually hang out with to do the video. Then you got to take the raw footage home and edit it, put it together. And then when you do that, you're supposed to give it over to Channel Awesome because they want to recoup their costs. Then what the hell are you selling DVDs for? Isn't that what the DVD sales are for? You sell DVDs? Well, Power Fist, I don't know if you were in here earlier. We went over the JewWario stuff, but yeah, the way that they basically outed the victim in that in a sense, and we went over that a little bit, but in this case we're sorry. So in this case we're talking about the contract here. This is where a lot of the producers had their issues, and so in order for the producers, here's the thing: both sides were making sacrifices here. Okay, so Channel Awesome was paying for the hotel rooms and the flights out. Okay, but they were the ones who were going to make the money off the anniversary movies. The anniversary movies are the ones that are that's what's going to draw the biggest audience. That's what everybody came in to see, and they broke them up into pieces, and they were able to make their money off of those. And then they're also going to make a DVD out of it. So making a DVD, you can sell those DVDs. So you're going to make money off of it. Recouping the cost by making the producers, or not making them, but if the producers chose to make a crossover video that they did on their own time, wrote their own scripts, edited it themselves, made the contacts so they could do a crossover video with whoever else they were trying to do that with, that they'd have to hand over that content to Channel Awesome, and Channel Awesome was going to have the exclusive rights to make the money off of that. That's just dirty pool, man. Because the people who are going in to act in these things, they're not shooting their own videos at that point in time. They're there for a week or however long they're out there for, and they're not making their videos. So essentially, Channel Awesome wanted to take that is bad. That is what people have the issue with. Oh, it's voluntary, but if you do it, yeah, let's make Boldly Flee 4 hours long. Yeah, to boldly flee was a chore to get through. I remember watching it going, man, they need to wrap this up. They could have wrapped this up a couple days ago, because that was another one that they were just dropping one at a time, one day at a time. They did it, I believe they did it in about a week. And I think with To Boldly Flee, they had a bit more, and I could be remembering this wrong. They had a bit more crew and a bit more cameras. They kind of had things planned out a little bit better. And Doug apparently thought that having more crew and more equipment meant that it was going to go faster. And so I think initially it was set for 3 days. I think Holly had to talk him into a 4th day. But yeah, they fly him out for a week, and they do long shoots. I remember seeing something about an 18-hour day. So even if you were to do a crossover video outside of the anniversary special, you were going to do it on your own time where you're away from filming. And if you're doing anything over a 12-hour day, and even at a 12-hour day, you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to want to film another video. I think Lewis on his Twitter, he's got a great rant about this particular response. And he mentions another contract for another, I think it was the 4th year anniversary, where they had to argue about, okay, well, we'll tell you what, we'll do you can do your own crossover video, but you can do 2 crossover videos and get to keep one. You're filming all day doing an anniversary special, and then you're going to find the time to do 2 crossover videos, and then you expect to still give one to Channel Awesome. Look, it's being greedy at that point in time. That's what I'm saying. Why not get the money from recouping it from the DVDs? Look, you gotta understand where where some of the money is coming from. And I'm not an expert on this, but Channel Awesome made their money from the websites and the particular videos that they were producing. So anything that pretty much Nostalgia Critic Doug Walker was doing. So they were making money from the videos of Nostalgia Critic and all the other stuff that he was doing. They were making money off the ads on the website. Then you have DVD sales and merch sales. They're making money off of that. And with the anniversary specials, you know that they're going to have a big audience watching that content. So how is they're not, if they're not making enough money from all of those revenue streams, then they're spending money poorly, or it's just poor planning. Electric, I'm going through reading comments here again, guys. Yeah, Electric, I completely agree with you. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. You guys can see his comments, I think. I have a small window that I see the comments in, so I have to kind of scroll through them, but I've got them up on here. But on OBS, it's so small that I can't read it. Like I said, I'm an old man. I can't read. I may need to get bifocals, man. That would suck. What I need is LASIK. Okay, so we're going to move on to some more of these accusations. Accusation. A few content partners alleged a misogynist work atmosphere by Channel Awesome. Accusation. Fact. Channel Awesome's current and former female staff, including Tamara Chambers, Rachel Tiez, I'm not going to go through all the names, have vastly different experiences than the ones described. We are always trying to improve ourselves both personally and professionally, and moving forward, we will implement mandatory sensitivity training for all staff to ensure we maintain a culture of respect for all employees. That's what you need, sensitivity training. Here's Rambo, you're right. Spending money poorly. Sorry, I got your comment last. Sensitivity training. That's what we need more of in the world, is sensitivity training. I don't know how to put this in any other way that I can state it. Don't be a dick. Just don't be one. It's really easy to do. Just don't be an ass. And because of all the people that they listed in their fact, doesn't negate any of the experiences that your past female producers experienced. Maybe someone learned how to be not a dick. That's true, Power Fist. Most of these women that they list here are part of the Chicago crew. From what I understand, they're paid to be there. Yeah, I believe a lot of them get paid to be acting on Nostalgia Critic, so it's not even a same situation. The content producers, content providers, were partners in this case, is not the same as a hired on employee. I bet if you acted the way with your hired on female employees, that the way that you did with your content providers or content partners, you would have had lawsuits up your ass if you treated, from everything that we've read. And I have no reason to believe that any of these people, any of the female content partners, have anything, there's nothing for them to gain from it. There's nothing really for them to gain outside of this. And they've repeated, and I'm going to say this part of it. I've seen so many former content creators that worked on Channel Awesome say, we don't want to see the site go away. We don't want to destroy it. What we want to see is that they make changes and at least own up to some of the faults that they've had. Accusation, people had a bad time. Fact, 5 people had a great time. Ajax, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, accusation. We're going to move on. Accusation. Holly Brown makes numerous accusations throughout the document. Sure. She's one of the people who contributed to the document. Fact. Holly Brown is a former employee and shareholder who was allowed to resign. Unfortunately, her accusations are not true and are vindictive in nature. How? Back that up, man. Can you back that up? That's basically going, well, she's a stinky poo-poo head. She didn't like what she said we were mean. She's stinky poo-poo head. Come on. I can't wait for Channel Awesome videos to come out, because they're working on videos to counteract a lot of this stuff. Yeah, he called out human resources. Does seem like a great plan. Very stupid. Maybe if you didn't fire your human resources person, you wouldn't need sensitivity training. Electric, you're right. I don't think, I agree with you. I don't think the whole reason for the document was to necessarily slam Channel Awesome. For a lot of these people, they influenced, and it may not be a big section of people. I'm not sure, but I know that there was a lot of people who watched Channel Awesome, and there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions. And when somebody splits, when somebody leaves for whatever reason, people want to know the dirt. They want to know why. Yeah, Power Fist. Yeah, you guys are on point tonight. I love it. Accusation. Holly Brown alleges CEO Michael Mashad is the sole owner of the Nostalgia Critic IP. Here's where we get into it. Fact. The IP is owned by Channel Awesome Inc. The partnership is owned by 4 individuals with a 5th person joining ownership by the end of the year. Yeah. Okay, so he's not the sole owner, but he is the majority shareholder. He owns most of the Nostalgia Critic. Is it that? I mean, is it? That seems pretty petty. Yeah, I mean, if Channel Awesome really wanted to bare their teeth here, Rambo, you're right. You're absolutely right. Go after libel, man. Put it. Do it. Ajax, I agree with you too. By the end of the year, yeah, if there's anything left at the end of the year. Your site's all but dead. Guru Larry is only on your website because he's trolling. He doesn't care. And I watch Fact Hunt, just about every week. I don't even go to Channel Awesome for that. I watch it on YouTube. All right, accusation. Holly Brown alleges Channel Awesome had her work during To Boldly Flee after her surgery. During this time, Robert Walker, Doug Walker, and Michael Mashad told her she did not have to work. Site updates were performed by others as she recovered. I'm sorry, I didn't do... Fact! God, do we have to go through this chat log? She had gallbladder surgery. Oh, I blew it up. I didn't mean to do that, but I can read it now. Power Fist, I don't think they do. I don't think they realize Guru Larry's still on the site. Maybe they do, because I think it's only Snob, Critic, and Larry. Yeah, exactly. He does. And that was something I was honored at one point in time on one of my earlier videos that Guru Larry came in the comments and said something, and I was like, dude, awesome. Larry commented on one of my videos. Because I'm a tiny channel. I just barely cracked 200 subs the other day, which, by the way, everybody who's subbed and who has been watching my content over the past couple of days, I really do appreciate it. This is the first time that I've hit any kind of numbers like that. Most of my videos usually are in the double digits. So anybody who's been watching anything, everybody who's in the live stream, anybody who's subscribed to me, I really do appreciate it, because this has really been fun. It's really been fun, and it's good to see that other people are enjoying this as well. I don't enjoy some stuff, like what went down with JewWario, but doing these live streams are a blast, man, and I'm having fun. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it too. Anyway, it's not that they made her work. If I'm remembering the document correctly, it's not that they made her work. is that they decided to fire her a day after she had surgery. So it's again, it comes down to, hey, just don't be a dick. Somebody has surgery, maybe wait for them to recover, find out what's going on, see if they're feeling better, see if anything needs to be improved. From everything that I've read and seen, and even you guys admit later on in this response, is that communication was poor. If it was, you might want to consider the fact that at that point in time, maybe your communication was bad. All right, and this is the chat log between Lindsay and, I'm guessing that's Doug. Getting into the grunt noises. Oh. That's true. Power Fist, that's very true. We didn't get the chat logs afterwards. This is... Getting into this chat log is probably not too much of a point. I remember watching that scene, and I wasn't uncomfortable. I just thought it was in poor taste. I just thought it was bad. And I know from watching Linkara for many, many years that, and he's even had kind of a diatribe about, rape scenes. And I'm one of those people that nothing is sacred. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, and you can do whatever you want to do. I'm complete free speech advocate when it comes to those things. That doesn't mean that there's not consequences for them. And if you're going to be someone who's writing a script, who's doing a movie, and you want to have a scene... Now, for people who may not be familiar, I think it seems that everybody knows what's going on here. But the scene between Nostalgia Chick and Linkara, Linkara was Mecha Kara, and he was assimilating Nostalgia Chick. And it came off as sort of a rapey scene. And neither one of them wanted to do it. And I honestly, if I saw something like that, I'd be like, yeah, the Big Barda storyline. Thank you, Power Fist. That's exactly what I was referring to. Dude, you and I are right on the same page. Yeah, I mean, what am I going to do? Read that chat log out to you guys? No. I don't do voices. I'm not that talented to do any kind of voices. But yeah, neither Lindsay or Linkara were totally excited to do that scene, and they were really apprehensive about it. And they went to Doug. Look, when you're going to your boss to say, hey, that rape scene that you wrote, that's not really something we want to do. Can we tone it down some? Well, it's not a rape scene, it's an assimilation scene. And we really like to use 60 of 9 for your name because we think that's funny. I mean, what are you going to do? Because these anniversary specials are your exposure, right? Like, even though the Nostalgia Chick at this point in time and Linkara both really had built up their own audiences, who knows who would have got onto that too, from the anniversary specials. Those are big draws. It's the whole reason why the producers volunteered to do them. So it was uncomfortable. And if you're going to use rape in a plot line, it better be a damn good plot line. That's all I can say about it. Accusation. Lindsay Ellis alleges Channel Awesome did not do enough to protect female content partners from abusive commenters. Fact. Channel Awesome has a strict policy regarding our community, including IP banning all abusive posters, as well as banning their account via username and email, and continuing to monitor our forums. We work with Lindsay directly to help her address issues resulting from an abusive commenter. Exactly, Powerfist. We're going to try both ways. And then we're going to use the one that I told you to do. You know what, Alex? You're absolutely right. You're right. Because yeah, I've seen Mediker's video on that. And he pulled the rape rap video out. We can look at it a couple ways. She could have. Now, first of all, that video is apparently very hard to find. He had to go find people who could track it down. It was archived somewhere. They were able to pull it up. Yeah, she was okay with her own rape rap video. And maybe her sense of humor has changed. I know she's very much, like in the Anita Sarkeesian school of whatever thought that is, but she's a part of that now. So she's changed. So, you know what? I got to give it to you, man. Like, I can't really argue with that point. She was okay with her video making that. And I guess the context would have to be like, well, was the person who was doing the rap, were they comfortable with doing it? Were they okay with doing it? So that, you make a great point. You got me. So with this one, I may have to side with Channel Awesome on this. Switching to the big vape here, guys. The reason is, I don't know how much you can do for trolling. And maybe I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. Now, I do remember reading someone's Twitter, I think it was Mars Girl, where she was saying that there was a particular person posting and making threats against a lot of the female content creators, and it was a problem. And they had to essentially get the police involved. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you, like, if you've got anything that someone's saying they're going to do something to you, whether it's death threats, rape threats, whatever, then you want to get the cops involved. Yeah, strict policy on their forums. That's the thing. We don't, outside of banning, IP banning and email banning and all this stuff, I don't know what else they want Channel Awesome to do for that. That's one that I'm going to say, well, who's going to do what? What do you want them to do outside of get the police involved? Well, yeah, you've got a point there too. They don't have enough moderators, but if they are banning people, and if they do ban people from, if they're doing an IP ban, I mean, unless that person, you can change your IP so they can come back, but if they did have to get law enforcement involved, and outside of doing that, I don't know what else they can do. I don't know what else legally that Channel Awesome could do. It sounds like at that point in time, if they're doing IP banning, and monitoring things, because you can essentially banning somebody is just clicking a switch. That's all it is. So I don't know. I with that one, I'm gonna have to say I side with Channel Awesome on that one a little bit. It still doesn't make the rest of this document good. Here is one of the good ones. This is my favorite. Accusation. Alison Pregler states, not a single person wasn't miserable. And they pull this out. Let's watch.
I don't know if you want this for the behind the scenes thing, but I thought I would just add, that it was a great production to be a part of. It was a lot of fun to be part of this and Suburban Nights. I hope that future projects are in the works and that, all of us get to work together again. I love being a part of this site and a part of these productions, and it truly is really the highlight of this year and last year. Getting to spend time with such great people and do what I love doing most, and that's entertaining people and creating things.
Well, that wasn't canned at all. That wasn't forced at all. That wasn't like, hey, we're gonna do DVD extras. You wanna chime in on that? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna be like? Well, this whole thing was a crapshoot. It was a shit show. It was probably one of the lowest points in my life. When am I going to see some DVD sales? Okay. So, yeah, just because somebody says something, that essentially, from what I understand, that video was taken for the DVD extras. Yeah, Power Fist, I agree. Abusive comments can be ignored. I don't know if I don't know if Yoshi's still in here, but he was trying to help me out, and he got into the chat, and he said something, and it triggered my chat bot, which depending on what you say, my chat bot will make everybody's lives miserable. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff that you can say about that. Hey, I'm glad that we're done filming. It was awesome. And who knows, the reception of things could also make you feel really good. So once the movie was put out, people saw it and they saw her in it, and they're like, hey, it was good to see you in the movie. There's tons of things that could happen like that. But I mean, honestly, that was for a DVD. That was for the DVD of the To Boldly Flee, I believe. So yeah, she's gonna say positive stuff about it, because you're not gonna be the asshole in the room, right? You don't want to be that person. So you're gonna say something nice, and it was a couple minute clip. Okay. Oh, they added more. In this video, you'll find that Allison says it was a great production to be a part of. It was a lot of fun to be a part of this and Suburban Nights. Okay. Yeah, she said it because she was on a DVD. She thought she was going to be on a DVD. That this was going to be an extra content. I'm sure she probably filmed that at home. It looked like her place at the time. And made a couple minute clip for you to put in the DVD. It does. It sounds like it was a nightmare to film. It sounds like it was complete pain. It sounded like it put a lot of people out. They did it because, one, you get to see your friends. You get to see people that you don't normally get to see from across the country. So you have that opportunity. Even in the worst of times, I'm assuming that these content creators made friends with other content creators. They met up for, they would do video chats, Skype chats. So they probably had a fun time doing it, or a fun time at least hanging out with each other, even if the scenario was nightmarish. Well, yeah. I think Christopher Reeve had a lot to do with Superman 4. He really wanted to have a statement. I think he's got more to do with that than just being Superman in a crappy movie. But here's our last accusation. We're down to the last one, guys. You've hung with me this long, and I really do appreciate it. All right, accusation. Multiple content partners address the lack of communication. It's a very nice, short, concise accusation. Let's look at the fact. We agree that communication could and should have been better. We got into this business based on our passion for content creation, and we have had many growing pains over the years. We always strive to learn from our mistakes and strengthen our skills. Have we made mistakes? Yes, we have. We've even discussed some of our challenges in our behind-the-scenes videos, which you can't buy at our store because it's closed right now. We've also focused on trying to entertain our viewers, shine spotlights on unknown talent, and share our attention with various charities, and we hope to continue to do so moving forward. Well, Power Fist, I know Discord wasn't around then, and I have my own personal... honestly, I would have you guys in a Discord if I could get it up and running. And I think Discord is the way to go, honestly. If Discord doesn't just jack your router like it did mine, there's a flooding problem on port 53 that Discord can do, and it totally killed my router. I had to go reboot everything. I was worried it wasn't going to come back up. So even here, they're finally admitting that there are communication problems. That they learn from their mistakes. That's one thing that I'm not... That's what a lot of the complaint was that they would go and do these, anniversary specials, and they'd run into the same problem over and over again. Not having water on set, people not getting fed, people passing out, not taking care of them the way they should have. Yeah, we've made mistakes. We're sorry you felt that way. They say fact. I say FOSS is the way to go. But yeah, they the biggest complaint throughout the entire document that was the Google document that was done was really that mistakes were repeated. They didn't learn from them. Now, I'm sure they've learned some skills. They probably know how to label a video to where they get a lot of views. They probably learned how to do that. Yeah, Discord runs fine for most people. I was so excited. I was getting my Discord server up, and I was really excited about it. And I had a couple of friends, join it so I could test it out. And I think it was after I had turned my computer off and then turned it back on, something funky happened. And I want to say it's can't remember. I think it's TCP port 53, and it floods. It causes some sort of flooding, and it killed everything. I couldn't get a wireless signal. I couldn't get Netflix going up on my TV. I couldn't get anything going. Discord jacked it up, and it took me about 20 to 30 minutes to get everything back up. But I think Discord is definitely the way to go. I really do. That was just my personal experience with it. Yeah, this is something that I really want to see what their video response is. And that could be true. He could be making, straw man complaints. A lot of these were kind of didn't really address the issue. Um, and you know, this was written really in response. This was more written out of anger. You know what? This thing isn't done yet. It's we're gonna see. I'm hoping they don't release the video tomorrow because, geez, dude, that's gonna take forever to go through. But yeah, they, from what I understand, now I haven't. I'm not. I don't. I'm not like, I don't have Malcolm's Twitter, but apparently he confirmed that they've been shooting videos to make a response to all of this stuff. All of this is reactionary. So, Rambo, all of this, what we're looking at here is reactionary. The apology letter is reactionary. All this has been on this here, their response is trying to take the offensive. The apology letter was kind of trying to be a little bit defensive about it and not really apologize. But this here was definitely taken on the offensive. And I am of the mind that their whole releasing this chat log to, I don't know, expose JewWario. I think this was a tactic to get people off of Channel Awesome a little bit. I don't know enough of Doug's or Mashad's writing to be able to tell you for sure. I've seen other people who have worked within Channel Awesome thinking that this was Mashad. But I can't. I can't really form an opinion on that because I don't know the writing styles. Because the apology letter, somebody was saying they think that was written by Rob Walker, but they're saying the way that this looks is very much Mike Mashad. That's what I've heard. Well, yeah, their initial response, I would say, took too long. I think this was them in panic mode. Let's pull up their social blade. Cheese and crackers, guys. Look at that. Let's see. The second is when it dropped. That's when the initial... yeah, they're gonna dig a deeper hole. Ajax, I'm with you. If they release a video response of them going, "Oh, hey guys, everything's great here at Channel Awesome. It's awesome at Channel Awesome," then you know that they're... did they pay their actors to do that? That's what I hear, is that Doug is a little self-centered. I don't know. I don't know the dude. This is a good point with JewWario too. We don't know these people. We really don't know them. They have a character that we enjoy watching on screen, but we don't know who they are in real life. I've heard on multiple occasions that Doug is very self-centered and very, like, kind of oblivious to everybody else. And then I've heard other accounts of people saying that he was fantastic and really a great person to be around. So this goes back to, we just don't know who these people are. They're putting on a character. They're making shows that we enjoy watching. You're invited into their home. If like me, this is a section of my house. You're invited in. We have a conversation. I'm not doing a character. I'm not doing a review or anything. But if you happen to go check out my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've got some pre-edited videos where I do like a Batman thing. And that's more of a character. That's me trying to like not act, but be camera ready or something. I don't do a good job at it, but it's there. And that's what a lot of these content creators do, is they either create a character or they make a facsimile or take a portion of their real life person and sort of accentuate that to create a character. And we don't know who these people really are. Just because we enjoy their content doesn't mean that they're a good person. And I think in the case of Channel Awesome, I think for a lot of us, what do I think Channel Awesome's best course of action? Regardless of whether they think they're guilty of these things or not, they need to do an apology. And I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know how badly this is actually going to hurt Channel Awesome, the YouTube channel. I think that it's their concentration has been completely on Nostalgia Critic. And I think you're still going to have diehard fans who love the Nostalgia Critic and who will fight tooth and nail for a character for a television show. But for them, the best thing to do is, if they still want the website to be alive, and if they want to get back to being a channel aggregate, first of all, I don't think that model of business works anymore. Everybody can make a YouTube channel and do it on their own. So I think it's, 2010, this was a fantastic business model. 2018, maybe not so much anymore. And I think what they need to do is just come out with a letter, say, we've handled this poorly. We apologize to our fans. We apologize to the previous creators. We apologize to anybody who's decided to leave the site. And we're going to concentrate on just working on our videos. Thanks for all the support that you guys have given us over the past 10 years. This point in time for Channel Awesome should be a celebration. And it's not going to come to that. Yeah, well, Rooster Teeth's a different beast altogether. When you look at what Rooster Teeth's doing, they got their shit together. Looking at Channel Awesome, they just don't. They never have. They lucked out. With Channel Awesome, this is a case of at the right person at the right spot at the right time, and you got Channel Awesome. But with Rooster Teeth, watching them grow, and I'm not huge into what a lot of stuff Rooster Teeth does, but I've watched them, acquire Screw Attack. I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Screw Attack was really a big deal here. But Rooster Teeth makes really smart decisions. No, Rambo, I don't see them apologizing. I don't see them apologizing anytime at all. But I agree that they're, even if the Channel Awesome website shuts down, which it looks like it might. Now we're looking at the Social Blade for the YouTube channel, and they've still got a decent number of subscribers. It's taken, we've had some big days of drops. Thursday saw 5,000, 7,000 on Friday, Saturday. When did this thing come out? Give me a second here. But it's every time they open their mouth. This came out on the 11th. Let's look at the 11th. See, they dropped it at the 11th. I think they dropped it at like 11 p.m. So the next day, the next couple of days, you just see a big drop because they should have they should have just not done that. They should not have made that response. I hate you. Yeah. This is Anakin Skywalker, the website. But yeah, this is I don't think doing a video response is going to be a good idea for them. I think it's going to be a very bad idea. But I'm ready to see that circus happen. Yeah, Rambo, it doesn't have a good reputation anymore. Because I think when they dropped that, that's when Angry Joe said, I'm out. Really, and I'm sure there's other content creators that you guys might know of, but I think the big ones that were sort of the pillars of that site, especially during the heyday, Angry Joe, the Nostalgia Critic, and Snob, well, and God, Linkara. Linkara was a big drop. Linkara was a huge drop. CA's Ray. Tamra? That's not fair. I don't want to drag Tamra into it. I don't have anything against her. Yeah, I haven't really watched Angry Joe in a while, but here's the thing, even if you don't like their content personally, you from a business standpoint, and I know I what do you call him? Pissed Alejandro? Is that what Medicare called him? Angry Joe seems to he seems to know at least the content creation business. He may not know all the legalities for things, but he does seem to know how to build an audience. Oh, okay, Tamra doesn't count. Yeah, she's the closest to a Ray for me though. Like I have nothing against her personally. I just haven't really enjoyed what she does on Channel Awesome, or at least on the Nostalgia Critic stuff. But I'm that way with, and that could just be the skits. The skits just drive me nuts. But that, I did watch her thing about watching Ninja Turtles 2, because apparently she's never seen it. That's the other thing, man. I'd figure for an actress, she'd be a little bit more versed in all these different movies, especially working with a website that just does Endangered Eduardo. Juan, but not forgotten. That's a spoony thing, but I enjoyed that too. I don't know. Who would be the Ray of Channel Awesome? I don't know. Chris Stuckman's not there anymore. Do we want to see the plummet live? Let's watch it drop. It's always the most entertaining part, when you first click on it and you watch the numbers just drop. I think Guru Larry could be whatever he wants. See, I'm not big on Ray from the new Star Wars stuff, but I like Guru Larry. Dude's entertaining as hell. Yeah, Ajax, I'm sort of the same way. I don't wish him ill will. Um, I think, and here's the thing: he's been doing it for so long. You're bound to make some bad decisions at some point in time. You know, doing these doing these live streams, there's something that I'm gonna screw up at some point in time and say something stupid. It's just a matter of time. It's just statistics. So yeah, he's had some missteps, but he's got a solid fan base. He's got, I know he's got servers and all sorts of stuff, and he's really put himself out there for his fans. And so I don't have, like I said, I don't have any ill will towards him. I'm like you. I wish him the best. I think he's done a fantastic job as a content creator. He's constantly come out with content. Same thing with Linkara. That was one thing I thought Medicare did that was a little bit mean, like kind of going after whatever Linkara's sexual preferences are. Like if the dude's into trans women, then that's his thing. Like I don't really care. Like his preferences doesn't. I thought that was sort of a little. I mean, Medicare can be mean. I love it when he goes after pedophiles. I think that's hilarious. And I enjoyed watching some of the more dirtier stuff from Channel Awesome. But on as far as like that particular portion of what he went after with Linkara with, I thought that was a little. I didn't think that was that great. But I could see Linkara maybe being a bit of a busybody. Hey guys, that is funny. Well, guys, I think that's gonna do it for me. It's 3 a.m. for me, and normally I'm up in about 3.5 hours. So I'm going to head to bed. Thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it, guys. Everybody in the chat. It was awesome talking with you. This was so much fun. And even on some of the heavy stuff with JewWario, I really appreciate it. But guys, thanks for joining in. And I try to have these up. I try to be up by midnight on Friday, so I'll be doing this next week. So I will see you guys later, and thanks for hanging out. You guys have an awesome weekend.